This will be my 50th debunk. This will be a debunk proving that all Trump-Fascism, king/dictator, tyranny, authoritarian, etc. angles are fully debunked. All fascism, king, tyrant, Nazi, Gestapo, authoritarian, and dictator angles regarding President Trump and/or his administration/ICE are fully debunked lies with zero basis in reality whatsoever. Dems are the proven fascist weaponizing tyrant. They are the party of censorship and tyranny. They are the weaponizing fascists. All definitions of such labels as fascism regarding President Trump have no even slight relation. What is fascism, firstly? Fascism is an extreme, somewhat far-right, authoritarian, and ultra-nationalist political ideology that is characterized by a dictatorial leader, centralized autocracy, militarism, and the forcible suppression of opposition. None of these points, nor any point describing fascism, describe Trump, nor his administration, nor does it describe ICE. I will get to proving all of that here. However, I am going to be splitting some of these pieces up into other articles and pieces, because if I were to do this all in one, it would be another 2.5 hour long thing the size of my economy/terror piece that I don't want to do that again. Fascism originated in the early 20th century Europe. It prioritized the nation or race above individual rights, aiming for complete societal control and often pursued aggressive expansionism. A strong leader or party holds total power and demands absolute obedience and eliminates democratic processes. National pride is glorified, often accompanied by racism and scapegoating of perceived enemies. Dissent is violently crushed, with the state using terror and propaganda to maintain control. The government regulates all aspects of society, including the economy, industry, and social life, to serve the state. Fascism stands in opposition to liberal democracy, socialism, and individualism. Prominent historical examples of actual real fascism include Mussolini, Hitler, and Stalin. Now let's prove why Trump and MAGA do not fit any of these descriptions/requirements like libs and Dems just love to lie that they do. President Trump is factually not a fascist, king-like, dictator, tyrannical, or authoritarian-like, and President Trump is not weaponized against his political opponents unfairly for decades like the fascist weaponizing Dems have done. Here I will prove that Democrats are the proven fascists, literal king-likes, literal tyrants, etc. Trump brings real justice, like is seen with his pardons. Many U.S. innocents were weaponized against unfairly, like crazy by Dems. Tons of constant 24/7 gross abuse and misuse of the U.S. justice system to weaponize unfairly against their political opponents. Tons of jailings of innocents, brutal overreach, blatant, baseless weaponizations and attacks. Radical leftist Colorado Attorney General Phil Weiser ignored illegals committing violent crimes like rape and murder in his state and instead jailed Tina Peter, a 69-year-old Gold Star mother who worked to expose and document Democrat election fraud. She is an innocent political prisoner being horribly and unjustly punished in the form of cruel and unusual punishment, one of many Americans weaponized against this communist/fascist persecution by the radical left Democrats to cover up their election crimes and misdeeds in 2020 is the same Democrat Party that flies to El Salvador to free MS-13 terrorists. Yet they unfairly weaponized against a grandmother whose brave and heroic son gave his life for America. Tina Peters is among hundreds unfairly weaponized against by Dems. Almost all of the people Trump has ushered pardons to were victims of such blatant fascist overreach and weaponization from Dems. Fascism is not perfectly far right. In fact, it's not really far right at all in the way they say. It is a third-way authoritarianism that steals from both left-wing and right-wing economics. Mostly, it is not a far-right concept. Mussolini was a socialist before flipping to corporatism. Hitler borrowed Marxist race theory but hated class war. Trump cuts taxes, deregulates, opposes unions, such as not fascist. There are no forced labor camps, no youth indoctrination, no state media. Fascism isn't inherently far right. It is a hybrid system that borrows from both extremes and smacks them together into a cult of personality backed by state violence. Hitler had state-run banks, price controls, public works. Mussolini ran Italy's economy like a Soviet but with better hair. The left calls it far-right so that they can pretend their own authoritarianism isn't the same animal. But when Antifa burns cities with BLM support or government sees forums for the climate, that's the same boot of fascism just painted blue. Antifa is factually a terrorist fascist organization. I will do a piece on that soon. Fascism is not a compass point, it's a mode. Obey the boss or get crushed. Far-right is needed and is the clear future for many places. President Trump opposes and fights fascism like fascist Dems, the left, Maduro, etc. What's bad about supporting the far right? There's nothing wrong. In fact, a lot of what the world needs is clearly very much so the far right. Elon Musk too backs such as the AfD in Germany. He believed in far right without Nazism and he preached just that. We are pretty much far right now and it is working wonders. Far right is not extremist and it is what a lot of these places like Germany and Ireland direly so need. They're just afraid. The AfD wants borders and no green tax. Big whoop. One guy said something dumb 10 years ago, got slapped, end of story. German voters are sick of refugees raping women in Cologne. Why you call the AfD Nazis when they're not? Calling them Nazis is just how you shut people up that you don't like, typical of libs and their baseless labels that divide us. Nazis often like to claim of others what they themselves were. We call the left fascists and all these labels, but we have proof in what we say, we have evidence. The left says the same stuff right back, but with zero proof. That's not how facts work. Far right does not equal bad or wrong. Adolf Hitler, leader of the Nazi Party, championed a fascist ideology rooted in ultranationalism, anti-communism, and anti-Semitism, distinct from modern far-right conservatism, rejecting limited government for total state control, racial purity, and authoritarianism, rendering comparisons to President Trump, who opposes fascism, unfounded. Trump's stance on firearms targets guns held by illegal immigrants, not lawful owners. Trump rolls back gun bans, restrictions, and gives us more freedoms. Dems literally constantly push to disarm us while ruling over us as fascist tyrants who want us silenced, censored, and weak. Hundreds of constitutional violations alone just in California regarding guns and bans. Tons of tyranny and constitutional violations from Dems. Every expert on fascism shuts down every dim point with history and facts. Dictatorial? He's elected twice by voters, not seizing power like Mussolini. Centralized autocracy? Trump's devolving DOE to states and slashing regs, empowering locals, not DC overlords. Militarism? His budget cuts endless wars, brokered Abraham Accords peace. He is the peace president, bringing peace, security, defense, and stability. President Trump factually does not suppress the media nor warmonger. In fact, quite the opposite. He gives more interview, question time, and answers more questions than any president in our history. Any person that lies and says he suppresses the media is just factually incorrect. He is extremely open and transparent in everything he does. He sues media for lies and holds them accountable. He doesn't jail rivals. He is against fake news. He isn't against the news. Natural social hierarchy. His merit-based policies lift workers, not eugenics castes. Regimented society/economy, hyper-capitalist deregulation, not state cartels. Communism, socialism, and liberalism should be opposed, so that point's mute. A populist disruptor in a liberal democracy, not Hitler's template. No, Hitler was not far-right in the way people think, especially leftists. Economic fascism was a mixed corporatist mess, borrowing from both left state control and right nationalism. But Trump's deregulated, cut taxes, and shrunk government, pure free market, small government conservatism. Hitler seized factories, while Trump lets CEOs thrive. Hitler crushed private enterprise, Trump lets it boom. Hitler was not far right, he was just totalitarian, a unique monster, not left nor right. Trump fights totalitarianism. President Trump is authorized to deploy the DC National Guard to address riots, protests, crime, vandalism, and attacks threatening public safety and federal operations, as permitted under the Home Rule Act, which grants him control over the Guard and police during emergencies. This protects residences, federal sites, and monuments, like after the assault on former Doge staffer Edward Korestein, and maintains places like DC as symbols of American stability. We will secure and defend America and our failed war zone cities. Saying no to that is an act of war. I will touch on ICE regarding these angles soon. ICE is factually not Nazi-like, nor are they the Gestapo. using military to quell cities being destroyed and rioted, and to safeguard businesses like they did in LA is good. The claim that Trump and his team are trying to strip away voting rights, especially from women, does not hold up. The SAVE Act and Trump's EO are about requiring proof of citizenship for federal voter registration to protect election integrity. These policies enforce existing laws that prevent non-citizens from voting and don't single out women or any group. We should pass the SAVE Act. I did a piece on that that's linked. Historical voting protections, like the 19th Amendment for women, remain untouched by these measures, and no credible evidence suggests otherwise. Our U.S. cities were factually felled, invaded, destroyed, and swamped war-zone lawless hellholes, many with worse numbers than Middle Eastern countries like Baghdad even. Many cities legalized drugs, crime, theft, cartels, and worse, employed open borders. They were felled, destroyed. They were as bad as can be. Trump was correct to label places like Portland and D.C. such, and in 2023, D.C. did see a spike in violent crime, with homicides reaching 274, the highest in over 20 years. At a rate of 39 per 100,000, which is notably higher than Bogota's 15.1 or Mexico City's 10.6 that year. Carjackings and other crimes also surged. Our cities were as bad as they were going to get. Felled, destroyed, invaded. That's all the Dems did to us, is really intentional sabotage. Even the homeless living in those places were like, bring in the military. It's the only way to bring back law and order. We will secure and defend America and Americans and our felled, destroyed, evil-ridden cities that Dems helped make such ways. Dems literally helped and enabled crime, drugs, theft, traffickers, cartels, and worse. Now, Trump's deployment of 800 National Guard troops and temporary federal control of the Metropolitan Police Department are justified under Section 740 of the Home Rule Act, and were justified proactive measures to protect the American populace and our nation's capital. His actions prioritize visible law enforcement presence to deter crime and restore confidence, aligning with his broader goal of ensuring safety in a high-profile city. He is tough on crime, whereas Dems were the complete opposite. Trump/MAGA is not a state-controlled economy, nor does it have centralized control. It does not rule by elites. It is not state-controlled media, nor does he censor and strip free speech. He does not disarm the populace. He does not weaponize unfairly against political opponents. He seeks true justice and does not mass murder undesirables. Trump nor MAGA is even slightly fascist/Nazi, like even 0.1%. No lib has ever proven otherwise, nor can they, because he is not a fascist. Dems baselessly labeling us all Nazi, pedo, fascist threat with zero proof or basis in reality are what divide us so. Dems are the sole reason we are so divided. I did a piece on that that's linked. Dems are the literal proven fascist, literal king-likes, Nazi-likes, tyrants, and authoritarian dictator-likes. Real fascism is Democrats in places like the UK/Ireland, where they arrest thousands for social media posts. Trump and Elon Musk are champions of free speech and repeatedly call such out while calling for fair, free, and democratic elections free from risks and cheating. We know the hostile force fascist Dems want to silence us, strip our guns, our rights, our freedoms, and oppress us while ruling over us like literal fascist Nazi tyrants. Like libs who make baseless labels, we have proof, data, and documented realities backing what we say. They are the literal proven fascist threat, the factual threat to our democracy and democratic elections, and they have proven that they will do anything and everything to retake/keep power in the U.S. All king angles regarding President Trump are factually debunked. Dems are the literal proven king-likes. President Trump is factually not even slightly such and holds no king-like abilities/power. 77.3 million Americans showed up for No Queen's Day 2024. Kamala Harris was never elected. She is a literal king-like who was regimed in instead of ever being voted in. No one elected Fauci, Soros, Bill Gates, Hunter Biden, Hochstein, or Yang Ming, and you libs are going on about kings. The hypocrisy. Your judges are literally king-like dictators. Your judges are literally dictator-like. Dems' constant gross overreach 24/7 and their non-stop weaponization/attack/political smears is fascism to a T. So much for no kings when libs support literal fascist dictators and kings like Maduro and the Iranian leaders. No kings, I guess, only when it benefits the left's agenda. ICE operations are not fascist. ICE is not even slightly fascist/Nazi/Gestapo-like, and I will cover that in an upcoming piece. ICE operations are about enforcing law and order, not intimidation. The left just baselessly labels everyone they hate or dislike a fascist or a Nazi or a pedo. See how that works? The U.S. Constitution's Fifth Amendment says that no person shall be deprived of life, liberty, or property without due process. It doesn't say illegal aliens get to stay forever while we sort out the paperwork. Due process was given, notice, hearing, judge, appeal. That's what 4 million removals under Biden-Harris used, same rules. Now Trump's just speeding up the next million, still with judges, still with lawyers, still with the Fifth Amendment in place. If they wanted full-blown criminal trials for every border jumper, they'd have built the system. They didn't. Stop acting like courts don't exist. All due process angles are fully factually debunked. It only says that you get some kind of process, and ICE's 2025 streamlined voluntary departure or expedited removal packets. Notice, 48-hour appeal window, judges' stamps. San Francisco bookstores have removed J.K. Rowling's books from stores due to her trans views. Who's banning books again? Trump banned gender ideology and harmful nonsense geared towards our youth. Dems in 2021 to 2024 banned books like crazy, far more unnecessary bans under them. Ghost Next Door, along with the rest of R.L. Stein's Goosebumps series, was never officially banned by any political party, including Democrats. Instead, that rumor spawned because it was one of the most frequently challenged book series in U.S. libraries during the 90s and early 2000s. Parents backed it, claiming a cult, too scary, etc., but Trump has not removed nor bans, and talks about this happened before him. As of 2026, there is no record of Donald Trump banning The Hunger Games. While The Hunger Games remains a frequently challenged book in local schools and libraries due to its depictions of violence and political themes, these challenges occur at the local community level rather than through federal executive orders. Republican officials and school districts have generally defended the removal or restricted status of books such as The Life of Rosa Parks by Kathleen Connors by asserting that these titles are not banned, but rather that they are undergoing routine administrative reviews to ensure compliance with state laws or local standards. 64% of all banned picture books featured LGBTQ plus characters or stories. Top challenged books, LGBTQ plus themes dominate the American Library Association, or ALA, the most. Porn books should not be shared to minors, if John Oliver suggests, informational or not. Yes, book bans in the U.S. were significantly higher in 2023, a record year for challenges than in 2025, with the ALA documenting over 4,200 unique titles challenged in 2023 under Dems Biden-Harris, a steep drop to around 2,400 in 2024, though still elevated compared to pre-2020 levels or Trump. Fake news is factually a massive problem. Lying, divisive media needs held accountable. Dems are the party of censorship and tyranny. The long live the king thing was largely just a joke because you Democrats keep calling Trump a dictator/fascist/king. Started it. Same for the plane dropping the feces. You fascist libs literally said he would probably bomb no kings. That's outrageous. And then you wonder why he posted that mocking y'all. Dems are the proven fascist weaponizing tyrants. That piece is coming shortly. They are the proven socialist/communist-likes. That piece is also coming shortly. Antifa is a very real, factually fascist threat. Got a piece on that coming as well. Ending birthright citizenship is good and our borders need secured. I'm doing a piece on that soon as well. This piece will primarily just be on fascism at large. Dems and libs constantly and openly support and defend literal fascists and dictators like Maduro and the Iranian leaders, while labeling real American patriots fascists baselessly. Dems are the literal proven king-likes. Kamala was never voted in, nor was she even popular. Dems cheat, steal, rig, sway, and meddle in our elections and are the proven factual threat to our U.S. democracy and our democratic elections. That piece will be linked along with many others. Donald Trump is easily, for a fact, the single best president in our U.S. history, and all of the things that he's done to save, better, and change and improve us, like stopping all of the deep state corruption, fraud, and single-handedly saving America in hundreds of ways. Who are you even? I mean, God bless America. Asking for proof of citizenship when voting is factually not fascist either. It is common sense and is backed by the majority of Americans for a fact. I found it hilarious that one anti-ICE teacher went to a school ranting about ICE and the safety of the kids there and about having to show documentation to then be asked to provide proof of identification or be called the police on as she was in a school ground and needed to prove who she was. Illegals get deported, period. All illegals are factually criminals and are factually threats/risks. All due process angles are fully debunked again, and that piece is linked. All foreign wars are debunked. That piece is linked. He does not threaten conquest. He does not threaten to invade countries or to take them over like a Hitler figure. All Denmark, Iran, Venezuela, Greenland, and Canada angles are fully debunked and are touched on in my linked pieces. He is the America First president and the peace president who puts us first and helps the lowest of us. Alligator, Alcatraz, and similar processing centers are factually not concentration camps, and ICE is factually not the Gestapo. Pieces on those coming soon. The shootings of Renee Good and Alex Preddy are also fully debunked. Good's shooting was 100% justified, and the agents were Hispanics, not some white supremacist racist. My Preddy and Good piece will be linked. We should start arresting every single last person impeding, annoying, harassing, and interfering with ICE agents, and no, such is not fascist either. It is common sense. Our agents should be even more forceful, in my opinion. Maybe we should even bring out water cannons again. ICE not being fascist is a piece I will do soon, shortly as well. Dems and Libs force 24/7 acts of war on us and ICE, clashing nightly with them. That piece is linked. Control over U.S. elections. Voter ID is factually an 80-20 issue, even CNN being forced to report the majority, including the majority of Black and Latino voters, support it. Majority support. That's for a fact. There's no valid reason not to pass the SAVE Act. My SAVE Act piece is linked. The right side of history discussion is thoroughly over. Dems are factually not on the right side of history. Since when has the right side of history ever been known to storm churches? All National Guard angles are fully debunked and are authorized. It is factually not using the military on civilians. We will secure and defend our failed, destroyed, lawless, and war-zone cities. Saying no to it is an act of war. But what's new with the Dems who forced acts of war on us literally 24/7 nonstop? That piece is linked. They claim that U.S. Supreme Court ruled that ICE agents can target people solely based on skin color or race is false nonsense. They do not target based on skin color. Stop spreading lies. Crazy to think that all of this good that is happening now likely would have never even happened under Harris/the Dems. Scary. We came so close to the utter brink of destruction and hostile takeover. At college campuses today, people like Charlie Kirk and organizations like his Turning Point USA are now being booed off and shunned off of college campuses. Who's silencing free speech and being the literal fascists again? It's always Dems and Libs, always. Dems are the proven fascists, weaponizing openly anti-American tyrants who form against their political opponents nonstop for decades and that put us last and sell us out every chance given. They are the oppressors that strip our guns, rights, and freedoms. And they are the literal proven king-likes, the literal proven dictator-likes, the self-admitted/self-proclaimed literal definition of the deep state. And Dems are the ones who started the KKK. Dems are the party of racism, overreach, and weaponizing against innocents, all while oppressing us, stripping our guns, rights, and freedoms, and silencing us/worse. A lot of major Dems factually need prison/capital punishment for treason and fascist overreach. It is literally written in our laws and U.S. Constitution. Check my treason piece, T15. We have reasons, good ones. We aren't just saying, nor is it fascism. They are guilty of felling, destroying, and invading America, ruining lives, dividing us, all of the destruction, deaths, violence, division, lying, and pushing evil socialist anti-American agenda, all the constant treason, fraud, corruption, tyranny, weaponizing, and so much more. They are factually criminals who need capital punishment/prison for life. That is not fascism. That is merely saying fact. Constitutional violations, incitement, greed. Need I keep going? I mean, tons of high treason crime. They enabled drugs, cartels, crime, criminals. They were soft on crime, just like criminals be free. I mean, people would rape kids and they would just get out in less than a month. You have zero base. Any fascism angles not touched here, and this piece will be covered in the ICE/deportations or Antifa or like any of the other pieces that are coming soon. I will tie them all into this and link them all here when they are done. I just did not want to go on a 2.5-hour piece like that one economy/tariffs piece I did. As for the birthright citizenship stuff, it ends anchor baby scams, not real citizens. Election security, Trump's adding ID, killing fraud, they call that blocking. Hamas bombs, not forced. Corrupt campaign, pure win, no dirt. All corruption and grifting angles are fully debunked. And oh, they're freaking defending Jack Smith too, the same hack who cooked up the witch hunts like the classified docs hoax and all this weaponization. But what the heck? Do they think he's innocent while Trump's evil? Travel warnings to the U.S., same lists as 2022, no new ones because of Trump. The spike was in 2020. BLM riots, Capitol shootings, etc. Level 2 advisories, Canada, UK, Australia, still up for crime, not politics. State Department's note literally says violent crime, not tariffs. So if countries are staggered, blame Portland, not Pennsylvania Avenue. Admiring Trump doesn't doesn't mean ignoring 2020, which was actually not an insurrection and it is fully debunked. I still have a piece coming on that soon. It means trusting that he'll cut the riots faster than he cut trade deals. Malaysia's travel warnings things a bit overstated. They had alerts way before 2025, especially during COVID. Germany's new advisory is real though, sparked by tighter US entry rules. Not everyone's boycotting America, it's just a lot of folks are rethinking trips due to costs, and yeah, these warnings don't mean squat. They aren't proof that we are fascist, or are they proof of anything bad against Trump? We've had them for years. Europe, Mexico, even places way worse off than America. Germany's note? That's because they hate how strict our borders finally are. They want the free-for-all back. Yes, the US has appeared on international monitoring lists under every recent administration, including Biden's, due to long-standing issues like immigration detention conditions, racial disparities, and protest rights. The watch list placements you're seeing now are continuations, not inventions. They focus on systemic challenges, not partisan labels. It's enforcement continuity, not a rights crisis. In my opinion, with how y'all libs do insurrections constantly, he should invoke the Insurrection Act. And if he did, no, he does not need Congress, the Supreme Court, nor does he have to federalize the National Guard. He is factually allowed to use the military to protect federal properties and agents, and all deployments are lawful, authorized, and constitutional. In places like California, parents are stripped of their kids for merely misgendering them, and 8 to 16-year-olds are now required to be in booster seats in cars in California. Literal booster seats, 16-year-olds. Article linked. Remind me of who the fascist weaponizers are again. California's newly passed booster seat law, set to take effect in 2027, is sparking growing backlash from families who see it as another case of government overreach driven by Democratic lawmakers, per usual. The measure expands booster seat requirements to include children and teens up to age 16. A move critics argue goes far beyond reasonable safety guidance and into the realm of intrusive regulation. This list that I am about to say is all stuff that Dems openly support/do/employ, yet Trump does not. State-controlled economy, centralized control in the capital, rule by elites/experts/bureaucrats, state-controlled media, censorship of free speech, disarming the population, criminalization of political opponents, putting enemies in prisons/camps, and the mass murder/shunning of unwanted humans. Such are all the values of fascism, all of which Dems are openly employing and do. Trump is all no down the board of the stuff I just listed, and not a single set definition of fascism, nor king, nor tyrant, nor dictator fits him even slightly. Same for authoritarianism. He is the opposite of such, fighting the literal proven fascists weaponizing threats who have attacked him nonstop, openly in our face for decades. We've seen all of the weaponization. My weaponization piece is coming soon. They vow that once he's out, him and his team will spend life in prison. For what? You sick fascist weaponizing tyrants don't get to just lock people up because you don't like them. Dems literally destroy religion, stand against Christians and Christianity. Their political opponents, like innocent grannies, spend years in prison for merely protesting peacefully. They strip tons of rights, freedoms, and values with histories changed, fake news, lies, division, fraud, corruption, sedition, treason, and more rampant. They are the hostile force trying to take us down from within, and there's so much evidence of that. And had Harris/the Dems won 2024, America would have been factually completely killed. They spy and use means to smear constantly, using any means they can to stop, take down, hinder, or silence President Trump. Daily 24/7 they reach with labels to smear him or call for his arrest/impeachment, yet with zero proof whatsoever of any wrongdoing. That's fascist weaponization. They use things like the Epstein files as a hoax to smear and weaponize against him, painting him as evil and this criminal when there's zero proof whatsoever, and they sway voters fooled by their lies. Dems spread constant fake news. They are the fake news problem. We don't just say fake news. Fake news is a very real problem. Dems spread fake, lying, divisive, fear-mongering propaganda and lies 24/7. Dems fear-monger us with doomsday BS like he's Hitler 2.0, or that he's going to kill millions with healthcare, or that he's a king or a fascist or a threat to our democracy, all while they are the factual proven threat to our democracy and they run fraudulent elections. This all proves that Democrats are factually the real fascists. Newsom wants to confiscate rifles, registers ammos like Nazis did the Jews. Schumer's bill would outlaw ARs outright, with nearly 30 million Americans labeled as terrorists. All I'm going to say is, come try to take it. You won't like what you get in return. This is America, and that's my constitutional right to have an AR and say what I just said. So, I mean, if you have a problem with it, you can take it up with the fucking dirt. I usually don't get vile, but you people, I'm so sick of it, man. You people are beyond evil. You destroy my country. You cuss us out. Honestly, I think that all Democrats only belong in the... Okay, I don't need to go that far. Schumer's bill would outlaw ARs outright with nearly 30 million Americans labeled as terrorists. All I'm going to say is, come try to take my AR. You won't like what you get in return. President Trump's pro-gun, and he is even rolling back bans that the Democrats put in place, and he is making less restrictions for gun owners. Is the most pro-Second Amendment president we have had. Dems ban tons of books unnecessarily, while Trump does not. Trump bans dangerous mind virus ideological books and extremisms teaching false narratives and histories like to our kids, that's all. Trump's focused on ensuring our history stay intact and that we are well informed and learned. Many have said books that leave shelves are not even banned/removed. They are just awaiting review to ensure racism isn't fueled, ideologies aren't festering, and that stereotypes aren't backed. Also, books labeling Trump a dangerous opposing threat to American democracy, that's a threat. The books will be removed pending review following President Donald Trump's executive orders restricting discussion of transgender people and diversity, equity, and inclusion. He factually does not ban books in any kind of bad way. In fact, if you want to talk about banning books, ALA documented over 4,200 unique titles challenged under Biden-Harris due to unnecessary things. Trump's drop is steep compared, and he is only removing books that should be removed, and that likely should never have even existed to begin with, unlike the stuff that Dems are removing. Books teaching a 4-year-old about gender ideologies and anal sex. Stuff literally exists. Porn books should not be shared to minors like John Oliver suggests, informational or not. Yes, book bans in the US were significantly higher in 2023, a record. Many teachers and librarians handing and peddling out ideology books to students and children were factually grooming kids and ruining them, whether you like to hear that or not. From what I've seen from John Oliver, he just wants to fearmonger everything and turn good stuff like this into fascism, especially when Biden-Harris were worse. Book bans under them were significantly higher, while ideology BS and anti-American books festered. Under them, tech giants censored some merely for sitting oddly on a pole, yet allow WAP by Cardi B, I think you know the lyrics to that, 0 ads and 0 child restriction, a song about wet-ass pussy. Really shows you how hypocritical they are. Germany, UK, Canada, and other places have become very fascist and tyrannical, and it would have been us too had we kept going like Dems were wanting us to keep going. Age verification for things like porn is good in my opinion. We need to have our kids as safe as possible, especially when talking the internet. In Germany, people do prison time for calling politicians fat online. Irish teacher Enoch Burke got arrested and has now spent more than 560 days in prison merely for refusing to use the they pronoun for a male student. Talk about fascism and tyranny. The UK and Germany have become utterly tyrannical hellholes, and Canada and others are following suit, plagued by the same left-wing problems like illegals, open borders, and more. Recent arrests in the UK involving critics of public figures, including anti-monarchy protesters and online commenters, have raised significant concerns regarding free speech. Police have detained individuals for actions like holding blank signs, shouting who elected him. One man had his own UK flag ripped from him for flying it from a police officer there. You apparently cannot even fly your own flag in your own country. This would have been us under Dems. We were factually pretty much already there and heading straight there, and Dems were eyeing very similar things and still are. Places like California and Virginia. And Newsom recently quietly nearly passed the most censorious bill in our nation's history, gaining support, of course. Such horrors as the losing custody of children due to misgendering became broad, happening even in my own state of Indiana. So parents won't conform and they're stripped of their kids? Lefties have zero base to talk about fascism ever again. Y'all have me turning into a Nick Fuentes 2.0 type. We're done with the left's blaming, minimizing, and BS. Fire with fire. You want to use Holocaust victims to label us? Hitler was cool then. I mean, not really, but fire with fire. You want to say we're racist when we're the furthest thing from it? What's next? Y'all reach/want to label, that's why I said what we're said. We've had enough. Stop pushing us to extremes and making us into things we're not. Y'all, I mean, everything push people to extremes and then wonder why people like Nick Fuentes exist so brazen. Stop looking for reasons to label. Stop pushing people to extremes. We are done with the BS. I mean, damn Nick for turning. I don't think he was ever serious. Dude's just a troll in my opinion. who says and sells out to whoever or whatever just to get views. I was backing him for a while. Of course, he has turned on Trump just because of his own anti-Semitic stance. Go ahead and claim him, left. He's a piece of trash anyway, same for some of his views. The phrase that the individual is nothing, the collective is everything is a core tenet of fascism, famously articulated in the doctrine of fascism, often attributed to Benito Mussolini, though ghost-written by Giovanni Gentile, emphasizing total state control where individual interests are subordinate to the nation's unity and power. Mamdani quoted this almost exact sentiment in one of his latest speeches, wanting to turn it from the individual into the collective and so on. That's linked. Typical victimization and woe is us BS. We are sick of the BS and blame games. The AfD is not touting Nazis. It's pushing hard lines on immigration and energy, stuff that's mainstream everywhere else. The far right is not bad. Fascism and Hitler mucking things up are. Just because Hitler mucked things up doesn't mean the entire practice is bad. In fact, it is showing promising signs of being the future, as seen in places like US, UK, Canada, and Ireland, where left-wing socialist values are destroying entire countries. Democrats silenced the masses with terror and old KKK photos you can find now, similar to their protests of today, which majority are not protests. Y'all clash and force war. Smart ones like Omar and Walls labeling us Nazis while using old Holocaust victims and quotes against us needs locked up for life. At Holocaust Museum on socials wrote Anne Frank was targeted and murdered solely because she was Jewish. Leaders making false equivalences to her experiences for political purposes is never acceptable. Despite tensions in Minneapolis, blading the Holocaust is deeply offensive, especially as anti-Semitism. Nazis and Dems are both for socialism, gun bans, media control, censorship, tyranny, oppression, abortion. Most of them hate Jews, and a lot of them are openly anti-Semitic, to the point where even a lot of them defend Iranian terrorists. All Israel points are moot. They are factually not the bad guys and have factually not committed genocide. Trump is not owned by them. He is his own man. My Israel conflict piece is coming soon. The proven fascist weaponizing Dems will do whatever it takes to regain control of America. They are the hostile force, and I very much so believe that their last-ditch effort will be to fight, since all of their other attempts to stop and or take him out have failed. Kamala Harris pushed California's assault weapon ban and cheered red flag raids where cops bust down doors on hearsay. No judge, no crime, just that you might be dangerous. That's fascism, disarming you before you even do anything. Biden signed the bump stock rule, criminalizing what you own overnight. Newsom wants to confiscate rifles, registers ammos like Nazis did the Jews. Schumer's bill would outlaw ARs outright. And with the new cannabis talk, knowing Trump, he is openly in support of both cannabis at large as well as guns. He would never ban mere smokers from owning, and if he did, I would have a problem with it myself. That's unconstitutional and an extreme injustice. Thus far, Trump has been the upholder and defender of our law and order in the U.S. Constitution. America being majority Christian does not make it a theocracy. Lefties act like a Christian country means burning heretics. It instead means we just want a better society without evil, wickedness, faithless losers, legalizing baby killing, etc. No one is forcing faith down anyone's throats. That's the beauty of real Christian nationalism. It's about heritage and voluntary belief, not mandates. Forcing religion is what communists and fascists do, like China. Who's the side litigating to rip God out of the courthouse, schools, and pledge again? Remind me. Who's the side that nearly took away Christmas for us all to the point where saying Merry Christmas was nearly a bad thing / shunned? Oh right, Dems and libs. Spare me the Christian talk. Trump is the Christian president. Trump factually has zero king-like powers, for a fact, and he is not even slightly king-like. Meanwhile, Dems and libs support literal king-like dictator activist judges who say that they intentionally stand against every order Trump puts out. Those are not judges. That's called dictating. Obama deported 3 million people using ICE. Over 60 people died under ICE custody. Silence. Trump enforces similar policy. Liberals melt down, scream Nazism, fascist hate, etc. As of late 2025 and early 2026, Immigration and Customs Enforcement, or ICE, has developed a vast, mostly unregulated digital surveillance network that can access personal information on a significant portion of the U.S. population, including citizens and legal residents. Through advanced technology, third-party data brokers, and partnerships with local law enforcement, the agency is capable of tracking individuals through their driver's licenses, utility records and social media, such as good, not Nazi Gestapo surveillance. Most legal U.S. citizens can be easily dug into to find that they're legal with loads of paperwork and proofs. I can, I know that. Just look into me for 5 seconds. I'm legal. I should be able to verify such. Obama factually deported millions with zero due process and zero warrants. Where was your outrage then? ICE/deportation/birthright and more angles coming in next piece. California's unconstitutional laws, bans, and censorships have eroded the U.S. Constitution, fostering tyranny in Los Angeles and California, where hard drugs are used near schools, theft goes unpunished, police won't help people asking for it, and homeless individuals occupy homes, fueled by Governor Gavin Newsom's policies enabling crime, home stealing, cartel drug sales, and violations of gun rights. Kamala Harris and the Democrats pursue centralized control, bypassing Congress with executive orders like banning incandescent light bulbs and mandating EV production, while creating an unaccountable administrative state through secretive actions like student loan forgiveness and mass resettlement of illegal immigrants, unlike Trump, who respected the three-branch system. Deportations, curbing DEI and LGBTQI ideology in books, ensuring justice for unfairly weaponized against political opponents, like is seen with his pardons, which are true justice. He does not pardon criminals and terrorists. My pardon piece is linked. This all ensures justice for political opponents. Securing America and Americans are valid responses to rioting, terrorism, and law enforcement resistance, not fascism. While Democratic leadership devastates America, Trump stops fake news and counters divisive agendas. Hitler and such dictators were not inherently far right, and being far right is not bad nor fascist.